Alright, so it's Jeep Update 58, and in 58 I'm going to try to reassemble as much as I can of the motors. So the last one, 57, was about wiring, and I need to take a break from the wiring, even though I really didn't get that much wiring done. But I'm going to get into some mechanical stuff in this video and see how far I can get. Alright, so I'm out here trying to hook up my power steering lines because the original CJ line will not work with the new power steering pump. And I couldn't find one, so I had to call PSC, same place I bought the gearbox, and kind of talk them through what I did. And they sold me this fitting here and an adapter at the base of that, and that's the high pressure line. And essentially I'm going to make my own high pressure line. So before I committed to that and made my own high pressure line, I put my grill up here to make sure that it wouldn't interfere with that, because that thing kind of sticks up a lot further than the stock mount did. And if I move it over here in about that orientation from the front of the Jeep, it does not interfere with the radiator, but it does interfere with the bottom of the grill. And let me show you where. Alright, so this is the back side of my grill. You can see this lip right here, and I drew a line, a very conservative line, to give me plenty of wiggle room there. And I just need to cut this lip off because that is interfering with that high pressure line of my steering box. So I didn't film this part, but in testing the fit of the radiator, when we mocked it up, there was no pulleys or water pump on here, and these serpentine pulleys take up quite a bit of space. So number one, to me the radiator sits really high, and number two, it's probably going to hit that nose guard there, that nose cone of the water pump pulley. So I may have to take that off to get this thing to clear. Additionally, the radiator sits pretty high. I know I just said that, but I got plenty of height in the motor, and to me the motor sits kind of low once you saw the radiator mounted in here, and it also needs to go back a little bit. So we have a little bit of adjustment in the motor mounts, about a 1/2 inch we can push the motor back, and the only way we can move it up, and I don't know if you can see that, but that motor mount has 3 mount positions in it, and we have the motor in the bottom 2. So that top mount position, this position right here, we could raise the motor up probably about 1.5 inches, almost 2 inches, if we moved it to the top position. So I don't know that we're going to do that or get that drastic with it, but I think we definitely need to move it back. And like I said, we've only got about a 1/2 inch of play here. Alright, so before any of that takes place, I want to make sure these power steering and steering box lines fit. And so I need to cut my little lip off right there with my cutoff wheel. So let's do that, and then we'll continue on with trying to fit the radiator. Alright, I know it's hard to see, but it's clear. And I can put it over here like this and run it up the firewall, or I'm sorry, the frame rail, and then come around this way and connect right in the back in the port. Alright, so here's our radiator mocked up, and I guess hindsight's 20/20, right, Matt?
Yeah.
But we didn't count on the radiator being this fat. And it's really, well, it's not really close. It's touching just the tip of the water pump pulley. So we're trying to figure out what to do. This is the Novak radiator with the built-in fan, and it's a beautiful piece. But
it's a big piece.
it's a big piece. So we have some adjustment that we can make in the motor mounts that we can get about a 1/2 inch, we think. and I can take the nose cone off of that water pump pulley and give us about another 1/2 inch. So I think we're going to be okay, but lesson learned, we should have mocked this up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now we got the fenders on, and I don't want to take it back apart. It looks like a Jeep again. I got Matt over here scratching his head. So we are trying to figure this out. But this is what happens when you, yeah, we measured everything, man.
Yeah.
We measured everything. Hello. We mocked up and tested and checked and all the fit and the steering column, the steering shaft, the headers.
And you would think with a 350 versus the inline 6, you'd have all kinds of room up there. You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's partly to blame the serpentine pulley kit. It's a fat kit too, right? You know, that's much wider than a V-belt, and then
Yeah,
those.
a factory water pump pulley is about, yeah, literally right there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, that
If we
added
had
something to it.
V-belts, we wouldn't have this issue at all. But
But man,
you know,
it looks good.
it looks good. Not functional at this point, but we will get it. We will get it. And this, like, when I mocked this up the other night, I was texting Matt novels because I was freaking out. This was like full panic mode for me. And Matt's like, take it easy, man. We'll figure it out. And I'm like, oh my God, look, we screwed the whole thing up. We got to redo everything. But I think we've got some adjustments in the motor mounts that we're going to make. We're just kind of looking at everything and trying to figure it out. All right, so we got the front end back apart. There's Nathan, that's Matt's son. We got the front end torn back apart. We have a engine hoist that I never wanted to see again the rest of my life back in place. And we have loosened, we're in the process of loosening these brackets. And I don't think that's going to show in the video, but you've got a slide here, and it's going to give us about a 1/2 inch. So we're at least going to start there and try to get that 1/2 inch and then see where we're at.
Yeah.
All right, Matt just came out from underneath the Jeep. What'd you just do, buddy?
Transfer case, transmission bolts are out so that we can slide it back a little bit. We're going to lift it up, go to those front bolts and see what kind of clearance we can get on the front.
All right, let's do it. Let's get her done. All right, so moving the motor back a little bit and taking off that nose piece. This is a good camera angle. We got tons of clearance from this angle, man. It's all about the camera angle, right? If you look at it from this angle, not so good. Down here, we're golden. So I think we're good. It's a little bit tighter than what I wanted, but what do you think, Matt?
Should be good.
Yeah? Okay. I think we're good.
And Novak gave the adjustment in there for that reason. So
Yeah,
you
no,
know.
I agree. Hindsight 2020, right? We would have mocked up we didn't anticipate the radiator and the fan being as thick as they are.
Yeah, that's a thick one. Normally they're do the slim fans on there, but yeah, I mean it is a really nice piece.
It's a beautiful piece.
Yeah.
It's all
And
enclosed.
it's going to keep this sucker cool.
Shroud. I mean, you even got these little flaps that open up when it gets when you're going fast, right?
Yeah.
So there it is, and I think we're going to leave it. I don't think we're going to do anything else. We've got plenty of clearance. Even with the vibration of the motor
As it torques over.
as it
Yep.
torques, yeah, you think we're good?
Yep.
All right, so mission accomplished for now. All right, so the next thing I want to do is I want to get this steering box, the lines from the steering box run to the back of the power steering pump. And the factory lines just aren't going to fit. I mean, obviously one is non-pressurized, that's just a 3/8 inch hose, but the factory lines are there, and not only are they is that line too long, it doesn't have the right fitting. So called PSC, and of course they hooked me up for a price, and this is what I got. So I've got a high pressure line, and then I've got these two fittings, 90-degree fittings, and then these two adapters. This one goes on the back of the power steering pump, and then this one goes right into the gearbox itself. All right, so to make this high pressure connection, I don't know how well that's going to show up, but there's threads inside of that fitting, and obviously it's threaded on this side. Let me put it down and see if it'll show up better. There you go. So there's threads inside there, and that's to screw in, literally screw in the end of this pipe, or this this high pressure line, and then the threads on this side, there you go, there's some threads, go into this, and you can see this is tapered, and this will go into the end of the hose like this, and then as you tighten that down, because of its taper, it will expand out as you tighten it down with this nut, and that will make a very nice connection there. So I was pretty intimidated about making my own high pressure lines, but honestly it looks pretty easy to do. So alright, so I wanted to show this real quick. So essentially what I've done is put on one end, and how I did that again is through these threads in there on this end, and they're real coarse threads, and it's counterclockwise. So you would think you would screw it on, you know, normally, but if you do that, you're not going to get anywhere. And so if you go counterclockwise, it will screw in, and it's really important. No way you're going to be able to see that, but it's really important to get the hose all the way up to the, there's a like a step in there, and it's important to get the hose all the way up to that step to make a good connection. So now that that's done, I'll take this piece and I'll get a little bit of assembly lube on there before I do it, and then I'll get that into the hose, and then I'll get it threaded, and I'll really crimp down on it, and that's what makes your high pressure connection right there. Alright, so there she is when she's all done, and that is a not too difficult to do. You just got to keep working this thing down, and that's a solid connection right there. So alright, so my steering gearbox lines are done. There's the hydraulic line I built, the high pressure line I built. The other one is just a return all the way to the back. Everything fits. Everything's out of the way. Everything clears the steering column or steering shaft, and that's it. Done. Check that one off. Alright, I ended up having to cut a little bit more out of there, and now finally it does not hit and it clears. So let's see if it clears the radiator. Alright, so it's the next day, and Matt and I moved the motor back yesterday, and we clear and we're good, but it's still pretty tight. I've got one fender on the Jeep to kind of line it up, and let me see if I can show you guys. You can see that it clears, but it's a little tight. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to get these mounts, and I'm going to try to move them to the inside of the grill. So that's only going to give me about maybe another 1/4 of an inch, but I'll take it if it's fairly easy to do. So I've got to get the radiator out, get the bracket that goes around the radiator off of the radiator, see if I can put that in, and then drop the radiator into that, because you can see got lots of clearance there, and I already kind of test fitted up my headlights, and I don't think that they'll be bothered by another 1/2 inch or so. And I'll try to take up that whole gap there, and I can do that. If I can get that bracket on the inside, I can trim it out with washers and push it even further back. So let me see if I can do that and see if that works and gives me maybe, you know, just a little bit more peace of mind. You have to forgive the heavy machinery noise, but my neighbor's having some land cleared out there for, I think he's going to put a pool in. There's Jake keeping an eye on things. Alright, I think I solved my problem. So I got the bracket for the radiator behind the grill. So in other words, this piece that was on the front side, on the motor side, is now on the inside, so that saved me about 1/4 of an inch, and I put a couple of washers behind it, and I'm feeling pretty good about that, so that makes me happy. There is absolutely no clearance issues now. You know, hindsight's 20/20 with these things. We should have mocked up the radiator, but we didn't, and just assumed we had plenty of room. And then, like I said, the serpentine kit takes up a lot of space. Serpentine belt kit. But moving the motor back gave us didn't give us as much as we thought, maybe about 1/4 of an inch. And mounting that inside of mounting the radiator bracket inside of the grill took up that little gap right there. Still got just enough clearance, and gave me a little bit more space. So I'm pretty happy with that, and I'm going to consider that done and complete. So the next thing I want to do is run the fuel line from the carburetor down to the fuel pump, and for that I got a 3-foot section of stainless braided hose, which looks really sharp, and then I've got various accessories here, AN fittings, to build it out all the way to the carburetor. Alright, so I've got this little fitting here that goes on to the fuel pump, thread sealant, hose assembly oil, a 90-degree fuel filter, and then of course my dual feed into my carburetor, and of course the hose. So this is the dual feed line is a kit from Summit, and it does say to make sure you tighten everything up. And on this little guy here, this 1/8 inch guy right there, see if I can get that in focus, to use some thread sealer on that one. So my understanding with AN fittings is you don't have to use thread sealer. It's one of the advantages of them, and that one tells me to use thread sealer on that little guy right there. So I'm going to do that because I'm going to follow the instructions, and I'm going to go ahead and get this thing on. Alright, so here's where we're at. Here's everything that I've gotten done so far. I've got the grill mounted. I even mounted my overflow tank there for my radiator. Got all my hoses on, my heater hoses, and got my fuel line hooked up. Goes all the way down to the fuel pump, obviously. Belts are on. Made a lot of progress. Air filter is on, but it's just kind of sitting there right now. It's not latched down or screwed in. Got the front bumper on. Got the winch mounted. Completely mounted. Everything but wired in. So that looks pretty cool. Alright, on this side I've got the fender on. Just a couple bolts. Got my brake. Everything's mounted with the brakes. The hydraulic clutch. Got my steering shaft on. Again, everything's hooked up there. Radiator hoses. Speaking of radiator hoses, these things were hard to track down. So for this setup, and this is a Chevrolet style radiator, meaning that the outlet on the top is on the driver's side, whereas I think if I remember correctly, with my 258, it was over there on the passenger side. So correct style Chevrolet radiator, upper radiator hose, I got a Goodyear 60691, and that fit with some trimming. And where I had to trim was the end over there by the thermostat, and nothing major. Lower radiator hose, Gates 20702. Let me show you that. And that thing fit on there perfectly. No trimming required. So that was a lucky find. Alright, so I made a lot of good progress on this update. So it's kind of random. I was all over the place with it, did a lot of random stuff, but got a lot of mechanical stuff done, and the number of mechanical things I have left to do is rapidly dwindling, and the number of electrical / wiring that I have to do still kind of remains the same because I just haven't done it. So I'm going to get into this wiring and have to push through it because I've been putting it off and don't really like doing it, but I got to get it done. So stay tuned to the channel for more cool videos to come, and if you like this video, like the content of the channel, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.